Hey friends, so I'm going to talk about dating in the Philippines. So I want to first make this distinction very, very clear, is that I'm talking about actual dating by actually being in the Philippines and actually being with the Filipina that you've been talking to. That is dating. The online dating that a lot of men, when they're first introduced into the possibility of getting to know a Filipina and marrying her, is typically with online. And from my experience, online dating is not real dating. Just because you found yourself a pen pal and you're having a good time chatting with them and you're flirting with them and you're video calling them, etc., they are not yours. They are living a completely life separate from yours, and you are doing the same to them. You are sharing, like an acquaintance, you're sharing experiences, but they are separate experiences. And you're not really getting to know this woman as much as you should. Now, I'm sure, online dating can be improved and some of those gaps can be filled, but we are physical creatures that need physical presence, and we need to be around each other in order to build life lasting commitments. We can't just promise all these things to someone or they promise all these things to us and expect for it to have a real solid foundation. So, is it's a online is a really good starting point, and there's strategies to using online dating to finding someone to actually see them in person. But let's not forget that you actually have to plan to be there and to be there as quickly as you can so you're not wasting your time, energy, and money to just be wasted on someone that doesn't matter. Um, you really need to see somebody, and you need to see someone for who they are physically with them. Now, I have to say this. Another thing is, if you're one of those guys that has no game or doesn't date, can't talk to women in your own country, you need to stop thinking about the Philippines, because for your own sake, you're going to get taken advantage of, and it's not going to be good for you, because women, you will attract the wrong women because you don't know better who's right or wrong because you haven't done the practice, and you will find yourself in really hard situations in the long run. It's funny, but I'll go to the Manila airport before I get to Mindanao, and I'm seeing all these foreigners that they just look like weebs. I hate to say it. And they are with a woman. I hate to say it too, but they look like a sack of potatoes. And there's plenty of beautiful women that have good personalities and are good people. But these men who met these women online, they fell for the first woman that gave them attention. And it's probably because they didn't ever get attention from any other girl before. So I'm not trying to be mean, but that is a common thing that I see. So you have to ask yourself this: why do you want to look for someone in the Philippines? Is it just to sleep around and have a good time? Well, if that's the case, I'm not the guy to talk to. I'm sorry, but I am a type of guy, I'm still single, that is date to marry. And if anything, I'm going to put forth advice that benefits you in the long run than in the short term. And if you want to just have a good time, go have a good time in your own country. Why would you waste all this money just for the same thing that you can get back at home? No, you want to think about why it is that you're there. And let me actually put forth to you why I think dating in the Philippines is better than dating in the US. I don't know what it's like for Canada or Australia, but I will say this: women are no different, whether that's the Philippines or whether that is in the US or Australia or whatever. They're no different. They all are the same. The difference really is geographical and cultural. So if you're looking for someone that has good values and is just a good person overall, you can still find that in the US. You really can. Like, what's stopping you from not dating still in the US versus in the Philippines? Well, for me, I can answer this. I don't trust women anymore in the US. I really don't. And at least when I'm going to date a Filipina and it doesn't work out, it's still a nice time with her. And I know that she's a good person. And I just wish her well. Whereas when I date in the US, oh my gosh, like like some crazy, crazy encounters that I've had with women in the US where I remember the one of the I moved into one state and the first thing that a woman was like, "Do you do drugs?" And then she proceeded to tell me all types of hard drugs that she likes to do. And she brought her dog with her for safety reasons, I guess. But I ended up just petting and hanging out with the dog, and I cared more about the dog than I cared about the girl. And that's why I enjoy dating Filipinas in the US. It's not to sleep around with them. It's that I actually enjoy like Filipinas. Like, I can have a nice, pleasant evening with someone that's really beautiful, and I can treat her nice, and she's just nice to me. And it doesn't have to have any agenda or no strings attached where, you're sleeping with each other or anything. No, you just get to know someone and it's just not quite what you're looking for, but you still treat a girl right. And the girl was just so nice to you still. And there's no like craziness that's happening between you guys. It's just you're being mature and you're just figuring out if you're the right fit or not. And you can still find that when you're in the US, but the likelihood of finding good women nowadays in the US versus the Philippines, you're going to have a quicker and easier time in the Philippines. And I mean dating in the Philippines, actually going there in the Philippines. I'm not talking about online dating because another thing about online dating is that, there's two things. You're going to face these two challenges. One is you're online with a girl and you're talking to her and you really, really like her. Well, the chances are she's talking to 5 other men at the same time that she's talking to you. And so you're now in a pool of competing with a woman with another guy that's asking for nudes. And you have no idea if she's actually giving those nudes to him. Do you see what I mean? You really don't know a girl, and you really need to go and actually observe their behavior and like really see them for who they are. Now, we're going to the Philippines, right? And we're planning, we're paying for a ticket. How long should I be in the Philippines? Well, I would argue as long as you can. If you're only going to be there for about 2 days, that's not enough to really get to know someone. You're probably going to attract the wrong type of person. And like, you're only going to see them when they're at their best self, their polished part. You're not actually see them for who they truly are. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, say for me, I actually go there for a month and I will talk to a Filipina and we'll have a great time at first. I'll take her to the movies or I'll take her to the beach or something like that. And, or dinner, and everything's great. Eventually, the longer things are, she's going to have to get back to her life. She can't dedicate all of her time to you. Things are going to slip through the cracks, and she's going to show you who she truly is behaviorally. And you're just going to end up noticing a sliver of what life is really like for her when you're gone. And you're going to see for yourself if she's really a decent person. And you're going to see how much commitment she's going to make to you over that month. And that's going to be a lot more eye-opening for compatibility than it is just to be with her for 2 days and then come back home. Way too much money to just spend just for a weekend getaway with someone and then thinking that she's the love of your life when you have no clue that she could be married, she could have kids, or a secret boyfriend or whatever, or yeah, who knows? Or she just wanted you to make babies with her. She just wanted a half Filipino baby. There's crazy things like that. And you need to like really give yourself enough time to actually be there and really get to know them. The longer you give yourself actually being there, the better it is that you actually see someone for who they are. And here's another thing that I'm going to say, totally opposite of what guys are looking for when it comes to Filipino women. This is exactly why I don't hang out with other foreigners, is that most of them are doing the opposite of what I'm doing. And it is just sleeping with them. I will tell you that if you're actually looking for someone good, and this is not religious or anything, delay sleeping with a woman for as long as possible. Because, one, it messes with your mind. Because if you sleep with them, that's when the rose-colored glasses come on, and you're going to forget your standard. You're going to forget what it is that you're looking for. You don't want to sleep with a sack of potatoes and she has a sack of potato personality, and you put that ring on it and now she's just as terrible and uglier than what you could have got when you're in the West. At least you got a pretty nightmare, I guess, but now you're left with an ugly nightmare. And I just, why would you just waste all that effort? The second thing is it's control. So it's not to say that it's manipulation, but you want to be in control. And when a woman can't please you by sleeping with you, she has to figure out different ways to show how much she's invested in you. And by either like cooking for you or showing up or, doing your laundry or something like that, she will figure out different ways to show you how she appreciates you. And you will see whether or not she can last. I guarantee if you can delay gratification, sexual gratification, you will thank me later. I am very, very certain about that. Believe me. You do that, it messes with your head, and she has power over you, and you are not getting to know if this is a girl that you can spend the rest of your life with. So when you're over there, and like I said, they are no different than Western women. It's just the fact that there's a societal thing where traditional values are still honored a lot more prevalent than it is in the West, unfortunately. So we don't live in a vacuum, and you could end up finding some really beautiful Filipina. Say you've delayed, settling for the sack of potatoes. You find someone actually gorgeous, which is very achievable. And you find someone really gorgeous that's interested in you, but her personality is no different than it is in the West. I've let a few Filipinas go. Very beautiful, but they just didn't have what I was looking for, and they didn't meet my standard. And not to say that they're terrible people, but you can be in control by actually seeing things for what they are and seeing if they can stand the test of time and conform to your standard. You're not the one that's pleasing them and giving them money and showering them with gifts or whatever. Like, you are seeing them for who they are. So I guess I should talk about money. Really understand the value of how much things cost, especially in the Philippines, because if you do not, you will be taken advantage of. So the first video I made was about my gear. And I told you that you really don't need much to get by. And it's true. You can make a really memorable date with not very much money, and it could be better than spending, hundreds of dollars on some elaborate date night for someone that just doesn't matter. That's just the truth. And if you're wanting to be generous and you're at that stage where you feel more confident about her and she's asking for load and you don't even understand how much it costs, she could be asking for $300 when really it should cost 300 pesos per month. And she's scamming you. And you just, I don't even know if 300 pesos, I feel like you could still get by because there's even Wi-Fi, so it could be even less. But you could be getting scammed. She could be like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." Like, so you give her like $20, and you know, on average, they make maybe like 10 a day. So you got to really think about like how much you're giving this woman, because now you're creating a dynamic where she's going to end up expecting money from you. And if you can delay, you know, putting her on a pedestal, showering her with gifts, worshiping her, um, sleeping with her, making her just as human and just as on equal footing as you, is not only respectful to her, but it's respectful for yourself as well. And I know that's totally not popular, but that is the truth. You really need to think about what it is that you're getting yourself into. Because if you don't, you're in for a lot of pain later down the road. All right, well, that's it. So thanks.